With autumn sun to warm your skin and a breeze on your back, the journey to the Howling Steppes is surprisingly pleasant. You sleep better than you have in months, and as you arrive at the border, you feel almost rejuvenated. The clean air, the vastness, inhospitable as the steppes may be, there is a certain peace to them. All the more surprising then, as the wind carries a stench towards you as you close in on the Aliani village.
Here we are. The Howling Steppes.
As inviting as a crypt. Is it just me, or does it smell like undead arse here? Ugh.
Oh, you're right, it does. Come on, let's take a look around. The village is just up ahead. By the... See that? What by the Guardians was that?
I have no idea. Some kind of mutated insect. Do you see that fog over there? That must be where that stench is coming from.
This doesn't bode well if you ask me. Let's find that village.
You were saying?
Ugh, that smell. What is this?
I wouldn't go any closer. That's poison.
Well, at least we now know where that stench is coming from. I'm curious to hear what the Aliani have to say about this. Up ahead.
Sure.
You know the way, right?
All right, I'm going.
Greetings.
Leave.
Why so hostile?
Because you don't belong here.
Zoema, what's going on here?
Kayawu. Blessings. The world has blessed us with outsiders again.
You're not with the bandits, are you?
We're not bandits. We're from the Wolf Guard.
Wolfguard? I see.
Look, if you want shelter and provisions, we can set up a tent for you outside the village walls. But you cannot enter, period. Now leave.
I don't understand. Why can't we enter the village?
Because our faith demands that we avoid contact with outsiders, regardless of their intentions. Though...
Listen, we don't want to disrespect your customs, but there's a lot at stake here.
There always is.
Let them pass, Waremu.
What? But the law...
Won't help us deal with the bandits or the plague, whereas the outsiders might. Let them pass. You may restock your provisions inside. When you're done, meet me in the eastern part of the village.
Stubborn boy. Fair enough, outsiders, you may enter. But we'll be keeping an eye on you.
What's this?
An outsider? Oh, what blessings. Please, stay a while. Let us trade.
What do you have to trade?
Knowledge. Answers for answers. It is a rare opportunity to learn about the outside world. Come, ask me anything.
What's your role in the tribe? Are you a hunter? A farmer?
I am one of the tribe's many gatherers. We do not farm, you see. The steppes do not allow for it. So instead, the gatherers scour the land for plants and roots. That is how we survive. All right, your turn. What is your home like? Greyfell, was it?
Greyfell isn't actually home for me. I was born in a small village, but I left when I was young. I haven't really thought about that place for a long time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't be.
But I am. Home is everything to us. Family, community, tradition. But I digress. Did you want to speak about something else?
What do you know of the God of Light?
You speak of Shaiogded. I'm sorry, outsider. That is a question I cannot answer.
All right, I understand.
Thank you. Shall we speak of something else?
Why do you want to know about outsiders? I thought the Aliani shunned the outside world.
Our laws prevent many interactions with outsiders. That is true. And indeed, many of my kin want nothing to do with them. But I do not see it that way. Knowledge alone is not dangerous. It is what we do with that knowledge that matters. My curiosity is just that. Curiosity. That we should avoid something does not mean that we should not try to understand it. I, for one, would like to know why we keep the laws that we do.
That's a practical outlook.
It is. And one that has earned me many frowns around here. Pragmatism and Aliani often do not mix. All right, my turn. What would you say is the worst thing about the outside world?
War. There's always some noble or lunatic who wants to pick a fight, and it's always the common folk who suffer the most. It's endless.
Ah, yes. Violence. Our old stories hold true, then. Very well. Go on. Your turn again.
I'll be going.
Ah, all right. Blessings to you, then.
Sounds like a plan. Yes.
This better be good.
Yes, yes, come closer. I'm sure I have just what you need. A fair offer. That way?
You have to let this go, Takana. She's with the ancestors now.
I know, but she's still out there. She deserves better.
But there's nothing that can be done. You know that.
Ah, I was hoping you would stop by.
You were?
Why, yes. We have not allowed outsiders into the village for nearly 40 years. As such, your actions here will be recounted in our stories. And since it's my honor to carry these stories, I was hoping to speak with you.
You mentioned the last time outsiders were allowed into the village was 40 years ago. What happened?
Yes. Many in the village chose not to remember, but I carry that story with me. A fierce storm had swept over the steppes. The howling winds and lashing rains kept the children awake for nights on end. On one of those nights, 3 outsiders appeared at the village gates. Traders, they claimed, who had been caught in the storm. One of them was gravely ill. Mayawa called them rotten and began to close the gates, until his mother, the chieftain, stopped him.
What happened next?
The outsiders were allowed to rest and recover in the village. Many of the people were uneasy, but they trusted the chieftain's decision. As soon as the storm cleared and the outsiders were well again, we sent them on their way. We never saw them again.
That's it? You nursed them back to health and then sent them away?
Perhaps you mistake kindness for friendship. Our chieftain bore no love for outsiders either, but she did respect our teachings. It was she who told them never to return.
I see. Thanks for the story.
Of course.
I'd like to learn more about your people. Are there any stories you can share?
Ah, you are interested in our stories. Well then, let me tell you of Kahi and the wind. In the earliest days, the winds ravaged all lands. It shaped mountains, carved waves in the oceans. Everything bowed to it. Our people struggled to exist in such chaos, until Kahi challenged the wind to a race. She held up a small stone. Whoever could retrieve the stone first would be the victor. The wind, confident in its power, agreed without hesitation. But when the race began, Kahi threw the stone into the lake. Though the wind blew with the strength of a cyclone, it could not reach the bottom of the lake. Kahi dove down and retrieved the stone. Enraged, the wind howled for having been tricked, but Kahi was not moved. She commanded the wind to be calm, so that our people might flourish. Still, the wind is devious, and it is said that when Kahi's spirit is not looking, it acts up and causes the storms that rage on the steppes. But Kahi's spirit always returns to remind the wind of its place.
That was an interesting story. Thanks for sharing with me.
My pleasure.
I have to...
As you wish. Listen for the storm.
Are you all right?
You're that outsider, aren't you? Just keep walking, please.
Wait. Takana, wouldn't they be able to help? You look as though you can defend yourself, outsider.
I suppose I can. What do you need help with?
My wife, Ehina, she went out to gather food a week ago. I told her to stay away from that bandit camp. But she insisted that's the only place you could still find berries. The bandits, they killed her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I told her not to go. Shaiogded's mercy she deserves better than to rot on the steppes.
You didn't bury her?
We never found her body. After our last search, the chieftain forbade us from continuing. Said it was too dangerous.
Well, he also said it's time to let go, you know?
If you never found her body, how do you know she was killed by the bandits?
There were signs of a struggle and blood all over her campsite. There's no animal on the steppes that could do such a thing.
So you found where she was killed, but there wasn't a body?
No, she wasn't there. Maybe the bandits wanted to cover up their crime, or...
Now look what you've done, outsider.
Sorry. You don't think you should keep searching for her body?
Look, of course I want her found. She should have the full burial rights of our people. But not if it's going to cost the lives of everyone who loved her. Between the plague and the bandits, it's too risky. So no, I think we have looked as much as we can. She is with the ancestors now.
And who are you?
The name's Rita. I'm Ehina's sister. Please, outsider, tell my brother here that he needs to move on.
I'm not restricted by your chieftain's decree. I could search for her body.
You would do that? An outsider?
I have business in the valley anyway. I can keep an eye out.
Oh, ancestors bless you. You have no idea how much that means to me. Start with her campsite. It's near the bandit camp. We were in a rush when we found it, so maybe we missed something.
Okay, I'll take a look.
If there's any treasure involved, I call dibs.
Leave here, outsider. No good will come.
Look, I'm not here to cause any trouble.
Aren't you now? Well, what do you want then?
What's life like on the steppes?
Why do you want to know?
I'm just curious. Even without those beetles, it seems like a pretty desolate place to live.
Well, I won't lie. It is. Desolate, bleak, miserable. These are words I would use to describe the steppes.
Then why live here? Why not move?
Because it is home. It is where we are connected to our ancestors, to the truth of who we are. If we were to leave, no matter the ease of survival or the pleasantness of our surroundings, there would always be something missing. We would always be longing to return.
I see.
I hope you do, truly.
Why do you hate outsiders so much?
We do not hate. What you mistake for hatred is simply our way of saying no. No, you may not enter. No, you may not spread your outsider ways.
But why be so unfriendly? We haven't done anything.
So you claim. The simple truth is we do not owe outsiders anything. Not our friendship, not our customs. Anything else.
I'll leave you alone then.
One can only hope.
Of course.
Outsider, you found me. First of all, I hope you didn't take Zawema's distrust personally. It's just, well, we Aliani can be quite rigid when it comes to our traditions.
I noticed that. The name's General Erev, by the way. So from what I gathered, your village is in some kind of trouble, and you could use our help. Is that right?
Most of my people would disagree, but yes, I think we do. I assume you also didn't come here without a reason, did you?
You assume right. We need information about the god you worship.
Shaiogded? Ancestors, that's strange.
How so?
Well, it's a peculiar coincidence. But I think we should save the discussions for later. Let me be brief. Our village is in trouble, and that plague you probably saw on your way here is only part of it. About 2 weeks ago, a group of bandits appeared and took over most of the valley. They've effectively cut us off from our hunting grounds, and slowly but surely, we're running out of food. Now, our chieftain went to negotiate with the bandits, hoping that they could come to some kind of agreement. Even the wise women told him that it's too dangerous, but he wouldn't listen. It's been over 2 hours since he left.
You want to make sure he's all right.
Exactly. I may be mistaken, but you look as though you can handle yourself in a fight.
What on Io is a group of bandits doing all the way out here?
We're asking ourselves the same thing. Then again, they don't look like ordinary bandits. They are well armed and have members from all races.
Huh. Odd. Your village does have guards, though, doesn't it? Why didn't they go look for him?
Because the chieftain forbade anyone from leaving, and they don't dare violate his order. Also, we Aliani aren't... how should I put it? We aren't the most formidable fighters. It has to do with our faith, but there will be time for explanations later. Please, we must go.
When you say the plague, I assume you mean those beetles and the fog?
And the fungi that are the root of the problem, yes. But, as I said, I'll explain later.
Fine. Where did your chieftain meet with these bandits?
West of the village. Come, I'll show you.
Yes? Out of the way.
Lead on, then.
You there, outsider. There you are. Blessings of the ancestors, outsider.
Likewise. What do you need?
Well, I heard about your arrival on the steppes. You have workers, don't you? Craftsmen?
Yeah?
Good. I am Kau, the village architect. And I have a favor to ask of you. We are dangerously low on iron, but with everything going on, we don't have the means or the strength to collect more. And without iron, I can't keep the village from falling into disrepair.
And then your people will have even more problems on their hands.
Exactly. If your men could help us out, I'll give you something that could be of use to you.
You seem a lot less fatalistic than your fellow tribesmen. How come?
What do you want me to say? Brooding was never in my nature. I won't lie, though. I am afraid. Very afraid. But for now, all I can do is to keep going.
Why trust me with this? I'm an outsider.
I can see that. But you're also my only option, and I'm tired of sitting on my hands.
When you say something of use, what exactly are you offering?
Something my daughter found in an old human outpost outside. Schematics that you might have use for.
All right. We'll see what we can do.
That's all I can ask. Thank you.
We should move.
You got it.
What the?
Get out of the fog, outsider! It's poisonous!
Sure. That way?
Yeah.
You got it.
Someone has to say it, Iria.
And the soil shall rot, and the corrupted shall unleash the storm.
What was that?
Oh, just... never mind.
At once.
Sounds
I'll
like a
catch
plan.
up.
Oh, so it's true. Age doesn't just rot your old joints, but also your brains. I told you, old man, we're staying.
There has to be some way we can see eye to eye. My people are starving, and...
I heard you the first time. Now I suggest you take your cane and hobble back to your village. Unless you want a reminder, huh?
You cannot!
Now look at those weapons. So you sheep have some fight in you after all, don't you?
Careful, General. Those are purity robes. They must be fugitives.
Right.
Look, sir, we mean you no harm. You should put down that weapon.
Oh, the way that soldier is looking at me says something else. We're here to incarcerate us, aren't you? Well, tough luck. We're not coming with you.
What do you want from these people?
From them? Huh. Just to mind their own business.
We cannot mind our own business if you keep us from our hunting grounds. My people are starving.
Isn't that unfortunate?
Are you with the Purity of Light? You're wearing their robes.
Well observed. Yes, we used to be, but that was before the god our leader prayed to turned out to be rotten. Oh, terribly tragic and all, but, well, what can you do? We know better now.
Look, just leave these people alone. Here. Is this enough?
Oh, so you got money! Even better. Boys, I think we found ourselves some loot. Get 'em!
Attack!
And so it continues. Did you bring them here, son?
Hold on. He's your son?
He is.
Huh. All right. Well, Kaiawu said you could give us information about the deity you worship. The God of Light.
Then he overstepped his bounds. There is nothing, I will tell you.
Ancestors, father. At least hear them out. They just saved your life.
Which might not have been necessary if you hadn't shown up. But, fine. Speak. So, you came here because you think we know how to kill the God of Light.
Actually, any information would help. We know nothing about it except that it apparently wants to re-enter our world.
In that case, you're best advised to leave it at that. Once Jakku has begun, there is no stopping it.
Jakku?
The Alyani prophecy of the end. The eon-old pattern ensuring that one day, Shaiogded will devour us all.
I respect your faith, but isn't there anything we can do to convince you? We need answers.
I am sorry, and the soil shall breathe rot, soaked in poison and blood. The Scrolls, verse 2. Jakku has begun, and this plague is just one of its many omens. So regardless of what I tell you, the fate of this world is sealed already. Just go, turn around, spend time with your loved ones. Enjoy what little time you have left.
Look, father, I don't think you're seeing the full picture. Yes, maybe Jakku is inevitable, but what about our people? If we don't find food soon, people will start dying, and the fugitives still control the parts of the valley the plague hasn't poisoned yet. If the answers we give these outsiders won't change anything anyway, why not let them help us? For the sake of our tribe.
As persuasive as your mother. Fine. Outsider, are these troops of yours that you mentioned large enough to match the fugitives?
They will be if we fight smart. So, that's the deal? We handle the purity in return for information?
The bandits and the plague. You deal with both, and we give you your answers.
Son, what?
I don't know, Kayawu. My division can deal with the purity, but I don't see how we can help with the fog.
You can destroy its source. The fungi.
Fungi?
Yes. They are what's causing this. The first of them appeared some weeks ago, and wherever they grow, they rot the soil and produce this fog. We think it's their spores. The beetles came around the same time, so they probably live in some kind of symbiotic relationship. Now, if someone were to destroy the fungi, maybe the fog would...
disappear.
Yes, and we know how well this worked out for Ukwe and Zama, don't we? Those fugitives are one thing. The plague is another. It's part of Jakku, and it can't be stopped.
Those fugitives are religious fanatics. Maybe they planted the fungi.
That's unlikely. They probably came here to escape justice, so what would they gain from poisoning the land?
I agree with your friend. They seem to be as upset about the fog as we are.
Fair enough. So, you think this plague is connected to your prophecy? Jakku?
The wise women say so. And even if they didn't, the third verse of the scrolls speaks for itself. And the soil shall breathe rot, soaked in poison and blood.
So you think, what? That the god of light sent those fungi to corrupt your lands?
Sent them? No. I think that they are the expression of a particular stage in the pattern.
That's a strange coincidence.
It is not a coincidence.
When you say a symbiotic relationship, do you mean the beetles and the fungi feed off each other?
We think so, yes. It would explain why they both appeared at the same time, and why the beetles protect the fungi like their own eggs.
Ugh. Who are Ukewe and Zawa?
Two hunters. They tried to destroy the fungi from a distance, as the fog made it impossible to get up close. Suffice it to say that it didn't go well. The beetles came, and now our village has 2 more grieving widows.
Why are you so resigned? Maybe your son is right, and the plague can be fought back.
Spoken like a true outsider, offended by the notion that sometimes there are forces at work which are beyond your understanding. Please, I don't think there's any point in me trying to explain our ways to you. We are simply too different.
All right. We can try destroying the fungi, but we'll need a way to get past the fog.
Then you'll have to search for it. Maybe driving the fugitives out of the valley will give options we didn't have.
That's a big maybe.
I know, but I'm afraid it's all I have to offer.
Fair enough. So we have a deal, Chieftain? We handle the fugitives and the plague, and you give us information.
Seems like my son has made the decision for me. Fine. If you have to fail to see futility, then so be it. Let us talk about those fugitives. According to our scouts, they have 4 commanders. One of them, a man named Thedric, being their leader. Apart from him, each commander is in charge of one of their camps. You should find him there. Thedric himself, on the other hand, moves around a lot, probably to ascertain everything in the camp is going to his liking. Always be on the lookout. Well, and that is all I can tell you. I wager that if you tear down their main encampment, the rest will flee. Good luck, General Erev.
Beetle plague, bandits, prophecy. It can never be easy, can it? What now, General?
Let's get our outpost into solid shape first. I'm sure it won't be long before those bandits come looking for their negotiator.
Make it good.
Over here.
That way?
Our presence here will not go unnoticed.
The outpost is complete. We've expanded our borders.
Here goes nothing.
Just give the word.
Get ready!
I'll find it.
That's it.
Aye. Though there was some kind of fortified area farther up north. We should make sure there's no one there to surprise us.
Right. I saw that too. Let's take a look.
Our borders. Where do you need us?
Out of the way.
Of course.
What
do
is
you
it?
need? At once.
This way.
Let me see.
What do we have here?
Make the dwarf do it.
Yield! For fuck's sake! I yield! Blazers, we're not with those lunatics!
Really? Because you happen to be in their fortress.
Because they forced us to! Look, I know how it sounds, but those bandits, the Purity, they were fucking insane. We have no idea what we were in for when we signed that contract.
You're mercenaries.
From Wolfgar, yeah. When that Tahar started kicking the Purity's butt, they reached out to us and hired us, and our beasts, to defend them.
Beasts?
Yes, we're beast tamers. Whatever the creature, I can get it, tame it, and train it for battle. Wolfgar griffins, Loranian scarabai, Empyrean falcons, you name it. Obviously, it didn't take us long to realize that we were fighting on the wrong side. Torture camps, iron masks, impalements. No matter the pay, there's a line you don't cross. Problem was, that nutjob who led our division, Thedric, he just wouldn't let us go. Even after the fucking wars were over, he threatened to impale us too if we ever thought about turning heel. And now we're here, in this godforsaken wasteland.
So you want us to spare you?
Yes. Now that Thedric and the other lunatics are dead, we can finally call it quits. Please, I know this might sound like I'm trying to talk my way out, but it's the truth. We didn't want this.
Wait. You said you tame griffins.
Among other creatures, yes. But we even have some with us.
Then this might be just what we need to destroy those fungi, General. The fog couldn't harm them.
Fungi? Oh, you're planning to take care of that plague. Yes, absolutely, we could help with that. And in return, you let us go.
So you're really trying to tell me that the Purity forced you to stay? For 2 years?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Look, I know how this must sound, but that Thedric guy, their leader, you didn't know him. Do you remember the Bane? The Purity's leg breakers? Well, he was worse. He raided caravans and villages and ordered the deaths of everyone who saw us. Just so that they couldn't tell the Crown that there's a bunch of ex-Purity on the run.
And you tagged along.
We tried to soften the blow wherever we could, but there's only so much a man can do.
If you and those ex-Purity came here to hide from the Crown, what was your leader's plan for the Aliani? To starve them out?
He's not my leader, but yeah, that's what he wanted. He didn't even have to raid the village. If we just waited a little, the problem would take care of itself. I mean, they're strange folk anyway. I mean, you would have thought they'd have tried to take back the valley by force, but no. They just sit there, enduring the hunger.
How sure are you your griffins can destroy the fungi?
Pretty sure. Well, you'll have to protect them from the beetles while they're at it, but what your friend said is true. They're too high up in the air for the fog to harm them.
If we let you go, what will you do? Work for another paramilitary cult?
What? No. No, I'm done with that kind of life. When I started, I thought it'd be all a big adventure, but it was nonsense. It's blood and wars and suffering. We were no better than your average cutthroat. Once I'm back in Wolfgar, I'll pay out my men and probably go look for some rich noble interested in starting his own collection of exotic animals. That is, if you let us go.
Fine. We have a deal. But don't even think about crossing us.
Count on it. Thanks, friend. That really means something. Come, I'll show you the beasts.
Go ahead.
Here we go. There, boy. These are friends, all right. Let's see where we're at, shall we? I guess you know already that it's not the beetles causing the fog, but those fungi. They corrupt whatever they grow on. Which means, who would have thought, that you have to destroy all the fungi on a patch of land to clear it from fog and rot. The beetles feed off the shroom's spores, so they'll protect them like their own eggs. However, going on a mushroom purge alone won't do the trick. One of my scouts found out that they're all connected to a kind of a mother shroom in the east. As long as that fat, nasty old lady keeps breathing her spores, the fungi in the areas you clear will simply pop right back up after a while. In other words, clear the sector where Mama Fungus grows, build an outpost, and have your workers shredded to pieces. And presto, fog, beetles, and fungi go back to the dank place they came from. It won't be easy, though, as you can expect the beetles to defend their symbionts. You need to make sure they don't get the better of whatever flying unit you send to destroy the shrooms.
Griffins, purity, fungal fog. Not what I'd have expected from this mission.
I agree. But you shouldn't have pardoned them. You're legitimizing their crimes this way. Also, how do you know this man's regret is sincere?
I'm standing right here, you know.
I can see that.
Well, I've made my decision. Let's see what those flying creatures can do. The sooner we get rid of the fungi, the sooner we can get our answers.
What do you want?
Huh?
Building completed. Building completed.
How did you get to be a creature tamer?
Well, ever since I was a child, I've had a special connection to animals. It was almost as though I could hear their voices as a whisper in my head.
Really?
Nah, that's just what I tell my employers. Sounds better than the truth. That I grew up among hay, troughs, and horse shit, and simply developed a way with animals. When a griffin plagued the hunting grounds of the noble I worked for, the ranger took me along. And when the beast appeared out of nowhere, it, for some reason, didn't tear us to pieces. Instead, it came to a halt in front of me and started making these chirping noises.
Then you do have a special gift. Griffins are very aggressive by nature.
I think it had more to do with the wild strawberries I picked on the way. Of course, I kept that a secret. The noble was impressed and allowed me to hone my talents. When I realized there was a lot more coin to be made with the skill and reputation I'd earned over the years, I left for Everlight. End of story.
I see. I still don't understand how you couldn't see that the purity was evil.
Good, evil, it's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? I mean, you're right. Had I done more research, I should have seen it coming. But I didn't, and trust me, some of the shit we witnessed Cedric do, it'll haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yet you didn't stop him.
No, because Cedric's thugs outnumbered us, and it would have meant the death of me and my men. So we just tried to survive and minimize the damage. Not a story of heroes and honor, yeah, but the best we could do.
I understand. Things are rarely simple.
Yeah, though that doesn't change the fact that we've messed up. But once our business here is done, we'll make up for it. You have my word.
I'm looking for the body of an Aliani woman. Did your men kill her? Or the Purity?
My men wouldn't harm a defenseless woman. As for the Purity, I don't know. But I didn't hear or see anything.
Well, she was last seen gathering food near your camp. Her husband found blood all over her campsite, but no body.
Well, we sure didn't eat her, if that's what you're thinking. Well, I can't speak for Cedric's thugs, but I haven't seen any Aliuni out here since they've all holed up in their village. Sorry.
So long.
We should move.
What do you need?
You were saying?
All right, give me a second.
Whenever you're ready.
The outpost is complete. We've expanded our borders. We finished researching a new technology. We finished researching a new technology.
Aye, got it. Make way!
We're under attack!
Aye.
We're under attack!
To battle!
Yes?
We're under attack!
What is it?
We're under attack! The outpost is complete. We've expanded our borders.
Airborne and ready for action.
What do you want?
Stay close.
We're under attack! We're under attack!
Aye. Death from above.
We're under attack!
I'm here.
We're under attack!
On your mark. To battle! Death from above.
We're under attack!
Aye. Let's see them deal with this. On your mark. Airborne and ready for action. Death from above.
To the village and tell the chieftain we held our end of the bargain.
Agreed.
That way?
Yes.
What is it?
Sure.
What's your order?
Huh. Interesting.
You're back. Does that mean...
Yes, we ended the plague.
I knew it. I knew it would work.
That's interesting, but ultimately irrelevant.
What do you mean? If they stop the plague, doesn't it mean they can stop Jakku too?
It only means that they quelled a symptom. And who knows, maybe ending the plague is also part of the pattern. Either way, you honored your word. So, we will honor ours. Come.
Death from above.
Let us begin with a question. What do you know about Shaiogded already? The one you call the God of Light.
It's an entity from another reality that wants to re-enter our world. Probably to devour it, like it tried to last time.
One statement, three misconceptions. First of all, Shaiogded does not come from another dimension. It comes from the place where all dimensions converge, a place between dream and reality, the City of Light. Second, while it's true its arrival will put an end to all living beings, existence will arise anew. Shaiogded destroys to allow for creation. It clears to make room for the new. And finally, Shaiogded does not want. It has no will because it is a consequence, a law of nature, and this law is Jakku.
Consequence? So you mean Jakku and the God of Light are responses to something that's happening on Io?
They are responses to our vices. Every time we choose selfishness over altruism, violence over peace, vice over virtue, we bring this world one step closer to Jakku.
Which has now begun.
Oh, it began 2 years ago when that madman Rondar Lacane tried to let Shaiogded into our world. The scroll's verse 1. 4 corrupted it will choose, and they shall not rest until the gate has been opened.
You're saying Rondar Lacane was a part of Jakku too?
One of its most telltale expressions, yes. The corrupted. Once Jakku begins, Shaiogded chooses 4 of them. 4 servants of its cause. They can be anyone. And the way in which they serve Shaiogded is not always as obvious as it was with Lacane. What they have in common, however, is that they all play pivotal roles in the prophecy, and it's always one who ends it.
By bringing the God of Light into our world.
Correct. And once it has begun, chaos follows. Wars, suffering, plagues. Jakku is the storm mankind created, the corrupted guide. And that brings Shaiogded, the end of humankind.
So there are 4 corrupted. 4 servants of Shaiogded.
Yes.
How does it choose them?
No one can truly say, but the wise women believe that Shaiogded chooses those who are the most rotten or fragile in their hearts, and who have the greatest potential to affect the current cycle of Jakku. If you're asking me who the 4 corrupted of our Jakku are, however, I do not know. No one does, until Jakku unfolds.
And you're saying this prophecy can't be stopped?
Correct. It can't. Jakku is born within our hearts. It's a storm of mankind's own creation. We could have stopped the storm when it was still forming, but we didn't. Now, we have to live with the consequences.
Fair enough, but we stopped the plague, didn't we? You said it was part of the prophecy.
Yes, you stopped the plague after it rendered half of the steps useless. So what good did that do? Cutting away a tumor neither undoes the damage nor cures the disease.
Hold on. If only the corrupted can finish the prophecy, wouldn't stopping them do the trick? Rondar Lacane is dead, right? He's done corrupting.
You just don't understand. Yes, Rondar Lacane is dead, but that changes nothing. If Jakku permitted Lacane to die, then it was because his death was necessary for Jakku to be fulfilled. Another corrupted will do the final deed, and this one you cannot stop, even if you try.
Better to try than to accept defeat.
Son?
I said, better to try than to accept defeat. Yes, Father, maybe the scrolls are right. Maybe Jakku cannot be stopped once it has started. But they are just paper.
They are the truth.
So you say. And that's why when something happens that doesn't fit into them, such as the outsiders stopping the plague or a corrupted dying, you bend logic so it conforms with the writings. Ancestors' mercy. Even if it's pointless, why don't we at least try? All we Aliani ever do is sit around with our sad faces and let things happen.
Yes, and if the outsiders would do the same rather than hate, steal, murder, and wage wars all their lives, Jakku would never have happened.
Well, it did. And I'm not going to sit around and watch the world end. General, let me join you. Your friend is right. I think tracking down and stopping the corrupted is our best chance. And I can help you.
I appreciate the offer, but how could you even help us? This mission is dangerous. And as I understand it, you people are pacifists.
I can learn. Also, as the son of the chieftain, I was instructed in the words of the ancestors.
What's that?
A kind of tribal light magic. Protective spells, healing, etc.
The words of the ancestors are taught to protect Aliani, not outsiders with a thirst for blood.
These outsiders saved a lot of Aliani lives today, didn't they? The ancestors would want us to protect them. Mother would. Also, if you want to stop Jakku, you'll need someone who knows about it.
Don't your people reject violence? We've already had to shed blood on our mission, and I doubt it will be for the last time.
We reject violence except for survival and self-defense. I will never harm someone unless he harms us first. But I'm ready to do what must be done for our survival.
Words of an outsider.
Using your spear when there's a lion charging at you does not make you rotten. You more than anyone should know that. Also, General Arab doesn't look like the kind of woman who'd use violence if it wasn't necessary.
Are you even allowed to leave the steppes?
Father,
It's all right, Kayawu. If you remember anything, it is that the scrolls forbid us to impose our will on others. So, yes, if this is what you truly want, you may leave.
And you won't exile me?
Not if you stay true to our ways.
Fair enough. If this is what you want, come with us. But you'll follow my orders.
I will. I'm sorry, Father.
Just don't lose yourself out there.
I will, Father. I promise. Allow me to gather my things, General. I will meet you at the pass.
Let's tell the soldiers we're done here. I want to leave before nightfall.
We should also have a chat with that mercenary. Those flying creatures were quite useful, so it'd be wise to have him stick around.
Good point. I'm listening. Huh. Interesting.
Ah, General. I've been meaning to talk to you. Good work on the heist. And those spiders, they never saw it coming.
Probably one of the strangest things I've done. That was a lot of gold we took from the treasury. Where will it all go?
Aye, it was a good haul. Most of the coin will go towards mercenaries and more weapons, but we've set aside a portion for Windhome's displace too.
That's charitable.
We do what we can. Either way, did you need something?
How are the rebels doing?
Malik tells me we're really close. Just waiting on a few more mercenaries to make it past the Windwall border. I'll let you know as soon as we're ready to make our move.
I wanted to know more about you.
Me? Fancy that. Alright, what do you want to know?
So, when you're not overthrowing tyrannies or traveling the world, do you spend time with anyone special?
Don't I see where this is going? No, General, there's no dear lad waiting for me somewhere.
Do you want there to be?
Listen, General, I don't mix work and play. Personal rule of mine. And more than that, you're not really my type.
That's not what I meant.
Isn't it? I've lived at sea long enough to know when someone is propositioning me. Not gonna happen.
How did you become the leader of the Blackstone rebels?
I'm not a leader. I represent the hundreds that oppose Arrakis and his bloody granite sons.
I saw the way the rebels look to you. Like it or not, they follow you and Malik.
Sons. To be honest, it just sort of happened. When Arrakis rose to power, we weren't trying to create a force to oppose him. We were just looking for others who believed we were better than old prejudices and shitting on the poor. When it turned out there were a lot of us, it became a question of what we could do, not just what we believed. Before I knew it, I was looking around and everyone was looking at me.
What do you hope the rebellion will accomplish?
You mean besides removing that madman from power? Reinstating the prince, for one, and cleaning house of some of the old advisors who opened the doors for Arrakis.
That'll be something you decide?
No, not me. Ultimately, it'll be up to the prince. From what I hear, he's a smart lad. He won't ignore the wants of his people, the same people who rose up to defend his throne.
That sounds promising. With Arrakis removed from power, the prince can focus on restoring order to Windhome.
Aye, and eventually even more. Once there's stability on the throne, the prince can figure out how to improve the lives of his people.
Why do you think they look to you?
Well, stones. I asked myself the same question.
For what it's worth, I think you're doing a good job.
Really? It's hard to tell sometimes.
Really? I thought you were an adventurer. Why are you so invested in a rebellion?
Does leaving your homeland mean you no longer care about it? Or the people you left behind? I wouldn't trade my travels for a sturdy life in Windhelm. Aye, that's true. But it sickens me to see us become something I know we're better than. So, if putting aside my own wants is what it takes to help my home fight a pestilence, then I'll do it. Gladly. What about you? Where do you consider home?
After living for so long in Imperia, it's hard to think of anywhere else as home.
Too much sand for me. But to each their own.
Are you from Windhelm?
Aye, born and raised. Although I hadn't been back until a few months ago.
Why's that?
Well, I was busy, I guess. Seeing what else was out there. I ended up with some privateers out in the Sea of Dreams.
How does one end up with privateers?
I guess one thing led to the next. Malik and I owed a debt to some traders. They knew I was good with the blade, so I served as a bodyguard on their expedition.
And they turned out to be privateers?
No, it turned out they owed the privateers a debt. And when some bloody wolves tore our camp and the traders to bits, Captain Tarzan stuck me with the debt. So I served on her ship.
Why didn't you try to run?
Oh, I did. Not at sea, obviously, but each time we made port, they always had a way of finding me. After a while, though, I realised I actually enjoyed it. Being out there with only blue above and blue below, chasing sea rats like hounds on a hunt, it was freedom. The crew accepted me as their own.
Then how did you come back?
I got a letter from Malik about what was happening in Windhelm. I told the captain. She paid out my cut and bid me good tides.
Do you miss it?
Aye, I do. Once this business is taken care of, I plan to rejoin them. Maybe finally drag Malik along too.
So you were a pirate?
Dust and stones, no. More like a pirate chaser. We were contracted by some minor Northander lords to protect their merchant vessels. Drove off a lot of sea thieves.
Where was Malik while you were adventuring?
He stayed in Windhelm. Took a job as a labourer in the mines. I was only supposed to be gone a short while, but when it became clear I wouldn't be back, I asked him to join me. But he declined. Said he liked his feet on solid ground. We wrote letters, though. That was always my favourite part about returning to port. Finding a letter waiting for me about my brother's latest news.
You must have had a lot of adventures. Got any stories?
Aye, I do. Buy me a drink or three and maybe I'll tell you.
Do you have other family in Windhelm? Parents?
It's always just been me and Malik. We jumped around in the streets for a while before an orphanage took us in. The woman who ran it, she's the kindest person I know. She took in everyone, even though she had practically nothing to spare. And yet she's the kind of person Arrakis would sweep away. Not because of her character, but because of the haves and have-nots.
Sounds like you had a rough childhood.
Stones. It was rough. But you know, in a way I'm grateful. Having nothing makes you appreciate what little you do have. The people who work their arses off to survive, those are some of the strongest people I know. And it's how I know we're better than this Granite Suns bullshit. A lot of us don't want this. We just have to empower ourselves to resist.
That's all I wanted to know. Want to get a drink?
Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Ugh, why is everything still spinning?
What do you think of the people who've joined us?
General, I didn't peg you as a gossip. All right, I'll play. Who do you mean?
What's your take on Wraith?
Wraith, he doesn't trust me. He's had a painful lesson not to put faith in a fragile world. I respect him for that, but it's not as doom and gloom as he makes it. He's swimming in the ocean, refusing to look anywhere but down, so of course he only sees the abyss. If only he'd look up.
What do you think of Iria?
For being the first mage of the Circle, she's surprisingly nice.
That surprises you?
Maybe she doesn't fully realise it, but she's a leader. Leaders don't usually end up in their positions without being a little ruthless, even those with the best intentions. It's refreshing. And I can see she's very nice to you.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Kayabu.
He reminds me a bit of my brother. Questioning why things are the way they are. He looks up to you, you know.
I get that feeling, yeah. A lot of things are new to him. It must be daunting. See you later, Rara.
See ya.
Yes? All right. Time to report to Her Majesty. Over here.
And that's it. My people believe that once Jakku has been set into motion, nothing can be done to stop it. I intend to prove them wrong.
That is commendable. So, according to your father, Shaiogded has chosen 4 corrupted to lead it into the world. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he, the Aliani that is, believe that even stopping these corrupted cannot stop the prophecy from coming true.
Yes. You cannot stop the lightning when you hear the thunder.
I don't understand. If only a corrupted can open the gate, why wouldn't neutralizing all of them stop the prophecy?
It's hard to understand if you're not Aliani. I may be wrong, but it seems to me that you outsiders believe strongly in the idea of changing one's fate through actions. We Aliani believe that us Shaperkin are ultimately powerless. We're subject to patterns, forces beyond our understanding. Love, disease, birth, death. We have no control over these things. And the most dominant of those patterns is Jakku. Trying to resist Jakku is like trying to resist death. You can struggle and struggle, but ultimately you're subject to its nature. So the best you can do is to accept it.
What an inspirational way to view the world.
As I said, I intend to prove them wrong. You Northandians have proven twice that the omens of Jakku can be broken. You defeated Lacane and stopped the plague. In my opinion, that's also our best chance. We need to identify the remaining 3 corrupted and neutralize them. Make sure they can't serve Shaiogded any longer.
And how do we identify them?
If I may, we already know one of them, don't we? The leader of those rogue dark elves, the woman with the mask.
Well, there's no way to be sure, but after what you've told me, yes, very likely so.
We will assume she is one of them for the time being. That leaves us with 2 more to find, and 3 more to neutralize. Very well. This is more than I had hoped for.
So we need to look for other cults that worship Shaiogded.
I'm afraid it's not that simple. A corrupted might not even know he or she serves Shaiogded's purpose. With that masked woman and Rondar Lacane, it was obvious. It might not be for the other 2.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, according to the scrolls, some corrupted don't even know they are. And that the ways in which they serve Jakku are diverse. Wars, famines, maybe even something as simple as being at the right place at the right time. It's an enigma.
That doesn't make it any easier. Even if all this about Jakku and corrupted is true, how are we going to find the other 2? Kayawu said it himself. Even with the masked woman, we can't be certain.
And therein lies the problem.
Actually, I might know a way, but I need to give it some thought first.
Do that. I will think on the matter too. In the meantime, there is still work to be done before we can restore the mosaic. Let me know once you've looked into all the trails.
What do you need? Fair enough. Let's see if Wraith managed to get in touch with the Black Company's leader yet. Keep it up. Out of the way.
General, what is it?
I'll see you around.
Yep.